In this video, I want to give you a tour of the Rhino carbon fiber crack repair system using this mock-up here. I'm going to be using the epoxy injection to fill and strengthen this crack, and then I'm going to be applying some carbon fiber reinforcement over top. So I'll lead you through all the steps, and you can see if it makes sense for your jobs. Normally, if this were a typical crack, we'd be cleaning the sides, maybe with a wire brush, perhaps grinding it out. But since it's a mock-up, we can go right to the repair. Now, these are the injection ports. This is what lets you inject the epoxy into the crack. And each one comes with a little cap. You have to take it off. You're going to need that cap later to plug up the hole. But for now, I'm just going to be installing 2 ports, one at the bottom and the other some distance away. In practice, you'd install them about 18 inches apart. Here's the 2-part anchoring epoxy paste. It's just a standard kind of dual-sided injection gun. And this is the port. It's got baffles in it so that it mixes the 2 parts of the epoxy so that it hardens outside the cartridge. So you can reuse the cartridge, continue to use it if you don't use it all in one go. When you get down to the nitty-gritty of this repair, you probably want to put on some gloves and protect your hands. Now, this epoxy doesn't cure all that quickly, so you've got lots of time to work. You basically just want to get some of the anchoring paste on the outside. It's important that you keep that middle hole open, and I find that a skewer or some kind of little wooden sliver thing helps because it makes sure that it stays open, and it also helps to hold it in place while we do the rest of the work. More anchoring paste now goes on the crack. The purpose of this is to contain the epoxy that we will be injecting later. That's different stuff than this, and we need to contain it, otherwise it's not going to fill the crack, it's just going to ooze out. So we don't need to go very deep with this. We're just creating a sealing skin over things. Now you want to go over the lip of these injection ports because you don't want that to leak or to go anywhere. We want it completely sealed in. Now it's time to inject the crack with the structural epoxy. But you see that the dual cartridge has different sizes here, so I have to change one of the plungers. I have to remove this and replace it with this smaller one here. So the tip of the nozzle snaps into the injection port. I've pulled out the sticks that were here, and we're just going to pop that in. Now the idea here is that you just go slow and steady until you can see epoxy coming out the top. That's why these injection ports are done in pairs and a certain distance apart. So the epoxy has now reached the top port, and I'm going to put a plastic cap in here. So the whole crack is completely filled, and the epoxy is not just taking up the space but also binding this concrete together. It's porous enough that it's going to get a really good grip on it, but there's going to be more that we do to make it even stronger than this. So epoxy is great stuff, but it's also very messy, and there's not much that can clean it up well. So I recommend you get some of these Rhino Tough Wipes. They've got a solvent in them that does a really good job on epoxy. I don't know anything else that would work as well, but we've got a little bit of ooze out here. This has got a solvent on it, and it's also kind of textured, so it's a bit abrasive. and it mops up this stuff quite well. Now it's time to grind all this off and to prep the surface for carbon fiber application. So we just start by knocking off these ports